Hi and hello and welcome to episode 38 of Going Over. I, of course, am Fred Slow alongside me, Saleh Taylor. And we're here to talk to you about the world of pro wrestling, WWE, AEW, of course, Duke City Championship Wrestling, and Saleh's dog in the background. Saleh, how are you doing, brother? Welcome to the show.
I'm almost as excited as my dog right now, but
That
we're
was
cool.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man,
Hey,
she's stoked. She heard you, man.
some people would call that a rough start.
Man, I
It's not
trying to
cool.
extend a bark over to this man. She's
It's
uh,
a
she's she's swell.
It's gonna be a loose one today. We're gonna laugh a lot. We are for the first time we're streaming live on Instagram. So how fun! If you're a follower of
Ooh,
us on Duke City Championship Wrestling at Instagram, you can get us there. Obviously on the Facebook page, the YouTube page, and all other outlets. And actually, I think I forgot to put it on the Facebook page. That's so very funny. But you get the point.
I love it. We are where we're needed, and that doesn't mean that you need us somewhere. We are where we need it. And that's
That
okay.
that is definitely how I feel. So yeah, so thanks for being a part of this. We obviously tape this during the week and it airs live on the Sports Animal here in Albuquerque. So it's a lot of fun for us to be able to bring this program to so many. The world of pro wrestling is as good as it's ever been here in the state of New Mexico, and it's as good as it's ever been around this great country. Monday Night Raw this past week, Saleh,
Holy
was
crap!
oh my gosh, like
Holy crap!
it was goosebump inducing. It was emotion creating.
To
It
to
was
quote a friend of mine, it was a banger.
it was a banger. Yeah, that's 100% true. Is that friend of yours Seamus? Is that who it is?
We go way back, man. We go way back.
Yeah, it's kind of neat, the world of pro wrestling and the world of storytelling, right? So you have the Raw after Clash at the Castle, and what traditionally WWE has done is when they come back from Europe, you'll get a little B roster episode.
Yeah.
You'll get a we're just gonna fill one out before we start our push towards, for this instance, SummerSlam, but you're gonna give your guys a little bit of time because they just traveled all over Europe.
Yes.
That was not the story.
There
This
was
past
no
week.
breaks, man. There was no breaks. Well, like I know that you don't believe how social media is a place, because I kind of believe in that as well.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of people who were just underwhelmed with the results of the Clash at the Castle.
Yeah, same. That I would tell you everything that happened I thought would happen. Even the tag team from over there winning in the women's division.
Yeah.
I don't at all think women's tag team wrestling is relevant. Like that's a tough one, but
Yeah.
they just pair superstars together to create those energies in the world, and it's not like there's dedicated women's tag, not that I care about.
Well, it's an evolving thing, and it's a concept that's still like getting mainstreamed. And I'm excited to see where it could go, but could use a little bit of help. But I'm excited to see where this goes. Um,
Yeah, the best part of Clash at the Castle was CM Punk.
yes, Eddie.
Yeah,
There's a viral clip going around from the crowd when the way they were in where the regards to the ring, you couldn't see who it was running into the ring. For spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it or heard of it yet, there's a ref bump with Drew McIntyre match, and someone runs in, trying to do a 3 count. It was a 1, 2, and then a big old half peace sign,
yeah,
and it's
forget
revealed
you
that
kind of thing.
and it's revealed that CM Punk is the guy in there. Some CM Punk shenanigans, and the person that the viral clip is going around, it just hearing in a Scottish accent all the colorful words. It's just beautiful to me.
Yeah, I agree. The storytelling of them two, and also to pair it alongside the storytelling of Cody Rhodes, because
Yes,
you have this really cool story of Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, and Drew McIntyre. And Drew McIntyre was fired, and
yes,
CM Punk quit, and Cody Rhodes let his contract expire. Those are three different endings to WWE careers. And in the time away, they all found success as they identified in different promotions. Obviously, helping create a thriving environment in TNA was Drew McIntyre, and then Cody Rhodes starting AEW after going through his list and doing all that stuff, and then CM Punk's return to AEW and ultimate dismissal. So these three guys who have all returned, and they're all, they're all of a different emotion. They're all of a different existence, and it's so freaking smart to me how these three guys are telling their stories. Cody Rhodes, having been gone, coming back, and initially failing, but finding the success he wanted, and Drew McIntyre coming back and also finding that success, but at a time when there weren't fans in the stands. COVID was obviously what it was to the world of pro wrestling, and then after that, the return of CM Punk, who has been injured, like no doubt, but still contributing, so many ways outside of performance in the ring. And then at Clash of the Castle, when you knew that Cody Rhodes was going to slay TNA superstar AJ Styles, who's now been in WWE longer than he was in TNA.
Yeah.
And you knew he would do that in an I Quit match where Cody Rhodes was not going to say I quit, because we just talked about those contracts. Cody Rhodes never said I quit.
Yeah.
CM Punk did say he quit. And then on Monday night, to parallel these stories, Drew McIntyre picks up the microphone and he says, I quit. And it was kind of an interesting one to me to see this like bigger storytelling between these three guys that have, parallel kind of journeys, but how they're getting those steps. And I don't see a way that this doesn't end in those three guys going at each other all at once, specifically because CM Punk oft hurt, a little bit older. Seeing these guys battle it out, and I'd love to see it at a Survivor Series. I'd love to see it at a Royal Rumble. I'd love to see it. It's not WrestleMania stuff, but it's these three dudes telling really good stories, and I thought that was the best part of Clash of the Castle.
I gotta agree with you on that one. Actually, that was a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
The continuation of that story. Is it me? Because I know that like
always is. Every time.
It feels right. Actually, yeah. It's not you. It's me. It's always been the there's this feeling that like Cody might be a placeholder champion, but like he had a great match with AJ Styles at Clash of the Castle, and it just feels like though they're just waiting for Roman to come back or for The Rock to come back, because people want to see that bigger storyline. But I'm trying to figure out right now who's next for the Cody Express.
Oh, that's a great question. And obviously at the time of our recording before Friday Night SmackDown, so so that'll rise to the top right here. The first put too soon for Gunther.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, said the return of Seth Rollins on Monday Night Raw. Gunther. Yeah, I think it's Gunther. Unless you do in a continuation, because you had two really fun matches with AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes, where Cody Rhodes is, the victor. But you could do something with the Good Brothers. You could do something that's Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. You could do some stuff to get it through the summer, because this is gonna sound a little inside pro wrestling, but Cody Rhodes has been carrying this thing for like 2 years. And if you can give him like a light work summer, like it doesn't have to be the summer of Rhodes. Like we already had the summer of Rhodes. This could very much be let's give attention to, let's give a rub to, because they got to reinvigorate the bloodline. The bloodline's terrible right now. They have to. It's so bad.
It's simmering right now.
If they're simmering, they might have turned the heat off on the burner, brother. Because, and I know you know them because you know them, but there's a lot of wrestling fan out there that can't tell the difference in sidekicks right now. It's like you're looking at what are those? What are the two? The Bali Boys. You're looking at like two Bali.
It doesn't help that Tama Tonga dressed like him right now.
Oh my God, what are they doing? And he traditionally has had like a very Samoan look. He's traditionally has done things, not this suited look.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let the Wyatt Six cook. Let the summer do it. Yeah, that to me would make a lot of sense. You don't put Gunther in this soon because you eventually want Gunther to be a winner, I think.
Yeah. I think like Gunther's been kind of like he hasn't been too active lately. I feel like they're getting ready to prop him up for something big. And
Yeah.
I agree though, it's not yet ready for Gunther. There are other things that need to be propelled story wise. The Wyatt Six overshadowing everyone right now. That's a beautiful thing. But you also have Alpha Academy that took it. They're in another chapter in their book. You have, man, like it's yeah. There's so many other things that's happening right now for
Hmm.
WWE that they got to let them have a shine and take advantage of the slower summer. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Let
Well,
let others get the spotlight.
and you don't want to outshine, like, if you're Cody Rhodes, some of the other stuff that's going on, because he's been so polarizing lately. And you
Mhm.
also don't want to end up in a situation where everyone is oppo him the way that, I'll just give you an example. People ended up oppo John Cena for a period of time,
Yeah,
where he could do no wrong, he could have no failure. Um, give it a chance to cook over the summer. Give it a chance for the Wyatt Six to get what they deserve, the attention that they're chasing. I would absolutely be a fan of that. I would absolutely be a fan of sharing the spotlight, because,
yeah,
and again, it has been held on to by Cody Rhodes.
I agree. Um, just to like dream booking. For me, I wouldn't want the Wyatt Six to chase anything right now. I would just want them to be a presence
Just
and
disrupt.
continue to, yeah, just
Yeah.
be chaotic. Uh, go wherever they want to and do what they want to, and just let them be a presence. Let them have 3 months of that.
Well, they already started that. We haven't had a
Yeah,
second episode of Raw yet, and I don't know what verbiage when you use, infiltrated the Pat McAfee show. Lights,
you did that. That's right.
yeah, the lights went down. It was the signature power down sound that you're kind of accustomed to with and it looks like Pat McAfee is willing or able or contractually. I guess I don't super care, but he's going to bring this angle in on his daily talk show.
Oh,
And
that's
it and I'm into this. It's, and no offense to Stanley Cup coverage, you know what I mean, but I'm into the idea that, hey, during the doldrums of summer, during baseball only talk, that you can keep me engaged in sports talk with the world of pro wrestling. Let's go WWE. Let's go Wyatt Six. Let's go Pat McAfee.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing about this current generation. We talked about it before, where they're utilizing all avenues of media to continue a story. You've had what was it, Kevin Owens and Logan Paul. There's like footage of them at the Performance Center,
Mm-hmm.
having a bit of a tuffle, scruffle, during that, and like letting that go a little bit viral. Them utilizing Pat McAfee's show that's on every day.
Yeah.
That needs to. I love that they're continuing this. And
Well,
speaking of like opening a doorway, like the doorway between NXT and
Forbidden Door. Yeah.
TNA, it's been a beautiful thing. Like not much has been said. Tatum Paxley went to TNA, had a match with Jordan Grace. She had an open challenge, and they worked at Against All Odds, put on a great show. And honestly, I did not know too much about Tatum Paxley, but I knew that she was an NXT rising star. She
Yeah.
looked great.
Well, and I'm with you in that idea that I don't know enough, because I'm not an NXT
Yeah,
guy. There's only so much pro wrestling that a human being can take in the course of a week, month, or year. And NXT is the one that misses me. And when those guys come up and that talent comes up, I like that when they're introduced to the roster, because I feel like I can really dive in to the character that's being given to me versus unseeing a character that existed in NXT. Let's step away early, Sully, so we can come back, talk a little bit about the configuration of the Wyatt Six, talk about what they are doing outside of the storyline that's specifically Raw. A friend of the show, Craig, pointed out that the Wyatt Six has taken over like Adam Pearce's Twitter, who's the GM of Raw. Obviously, we talked about the Pat McAfee stuff. We'll go into more length on that. You're listening to Going Over right here on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. Welcome back to the program. Welcome back to Going Over. I am Fred Slow. You are Sally Taylor. We continue our conversation about the world of WWE and the Wyatt Six. As good a storytelling as I have seen, I believe, since the Royal Rumble in San Antonio and Sami Zayn betrayed the bloodline. What is your opinion right now, Saleh, on the arc that is storytelling in professional wrestling, specifically the WWE?
They are firing on all cylinders right now.
Yeah.
They're utilizing all of the shows from Raw to SmackDown to NXT. I'd be amiss if I didn't mention, speaking of the door being open, this past Wednesday, there was a 25-man battle royale for #1 contendership to fight Trick Williams next week. And it was announced that you won't have the regular guys in the locker room on this match. There was a few TNA guys in there. Of note, Joe Hendry made his debut at NXT. And for those who don't know who Joe Hendry is, look up his videos. The dude cuts promos really well, and he's a great worker, and he's gotten himself over extremely well from TNA, and actually anywhere he's at. But the pop that he got from NXT crowd, insane. The camera's shaking when his music starts. It's a beautiful thing. It's actually now the most viral video since
how cool.
the Undertaker video on X. It is the most, man. It's the most watched. It's a beautiful thing. John Bradshaw Layfield even gave his approval, talking about he wants Joe Hendry to write his return music. Joe Hendry's he's a gem, but that's a beautiful thing that's going on. Like all shows. So now it's forcing me to keep track of not just Raw, not just SmackDown. All right, I got NXT, I got AEW. Now I got TNA because I got to familiarize myself. And then we got our good friends in NWA that's going at it. But to answer your question, like, what's my feeling or my opinion on the storytelling arcs with WWE? I'm loving it. It's a beautiful thing, and they're kicking into another gear, man. I'm loving it.
Well, I agree with you completely. I want to say this. I don't know the talent that's coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So the part that like excites me the most is how I'm able to learn it along the way. And that is not something I've had, I feel like, in wrestling for some time. You know, I feel like in wrestling for some time, I've been expectant of storylines, and because like I know the history of this character, I know how they interact with others, whatever, and you kind of draw it out. So that's where I end up excited to hear, you know. And as we go back to the Wyatt Six, the idea is these characters, they're doing new roles, they're doing, you know, new involvements, and I'm learning. And so we'll go through the members real quick of the Wyatt Six. Obviously, Uncle Howdy is Bo Dallas or Taylor Rotunda, right? And that is the shoot brother of Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda. And the amount of emotion associated with this, you know, Bray Wyatt passed away a little over a year ago. And is that right? Did I get that right? Yeah. And you know, Uncle Howdy had been part of some storylines, and I was in San Antonio whenever he was part of Bray Wyatt's last match against LA Knight, and then understandably had to go. You know, he had to step away because there was his brother had passed. You know, there was loss in the family. And then you bring back as the Ramblin' Rabbit Eric Rowan. Eric Rowan had been in WWE forever.
You met him last year.
Yeah, hosted a panel with thanks to you. And
actually met him in January.
Yeah, just in January.
Yeah.
And this year, a couple months ago.
Yeah, dang.
And we had talked and we had talked about hosting or having him with Duke City Championship Wrestling. We had all these conversations, and he knew then, you know, that WWE was, you know, intimate, and that wasn't going to be an option for us. And then you give me Nikki Cross, who's Sister Abigail, and
I love that.
That's a good fit, because a lot of individuals, I think, had a belief system that it was going to be Alexa Bliss, you know, because of, you know, some of the associations she had with the Fun House, and Nikki Cross, who, if you recall, before she went off TV for the period of time she did, she was doing real weird, sporadic things like walking out of matches.
Yeah.
You know, she was doing real off the wall stuff. And then Dexter Loomis, who was playing Mercy the Buzzard,
I can't wait. Yeah, I love that.
very much. And I don't know he from his NXT days the way a lot of people do. I knew him from that storyline he did with The Miz. And
The stalker angle, right?
yeah, and it was good. It was creepy. It was
Creep,
weird.
the creep angle, really good,
Yeah.
man.
And he's going to be a part in this thing. And then Joe Gacy, who's been around the world of pro wrestling forever, as Huskus the Pig Boy. He also, by the way, all these names very good.
Very great.
He is neat to me because I don't have rich exposure to him. Like I'm going to learn him too. Like
Yeah.
I'm convinced that all these individuals can collectively bear the cross. That's going to be incredibly high expectation, incredibly important delivery, and
Yeah.
lastly, not for morbid verbiage, but the execution it's going to take. Because wow. And then, lastly, just to wrap this whole thing up, you consider the passing of Luke Harper, who's Brody Lee, and you talk about, the Wyatt family, what it once was when, it was as prominent as it was.
Yeah.
And now, Reebok announced a collaboration shoe with Brody Lee and AEW, which is, if you haven't seen the shoe, it's
really nice.
Yeah, it's really nice, and it's supporting his family. But there's all these aspects of storytelling that aren't in the world of pro wrestling right now, Sully, that are incredible.
Yeah.
I'm trying to come up with the words for how impressed I am. I'm just so incredibly impressed by the approach that WWE has taken to this. And I can only imagine the amount of people that were considered. I can only imagine the amount of performers that were willing to be a part of it. I know friend of the show, Craig, points out in our live chat that he believed Matt Hardy was contacted about the Wyatt Six, and he's not ruling out. But in that, is the Six and Wyatt Six, is that the essence of Bray Wyatt? Is it Alexa Bliss at some time returning? There's all these ideas and considerations. It's just as good of storytelling as I think I've seen in some years, Solid.
I'm one of the things I'm impressed by with this so far is that it's not rushed.
No.
And they're letting things fester. They're doing a great job. They're not forcing it to. I'm grateful that they closed Raw on their debut, and they didn't do any ring time or anything. They just came, which that whole shot that as a continuous shot. So we got a beautiful oneer. Shout out to the production crew for WWE for executing that. By the way,
yeah,
amazing job, amazing work. So the beautiful oneer that lasted about 5-7 minutes. This was like 7 minutes, and they ended the show on this. Perfect way of doing that, I'd say. We don't have to see him in the ring yet. I would love the Crow Sting approach to this, where WCW did was a year and a half of just seeing Sting in the Raptors and stuff.
They let his hair grow. He started with a wig on.
Exactly. I love that. I forgot about that. We need to continue to build a mystique. Let us, in our imagination, start playing around. But that comes at a price because the expectations just continue to be raised higher and higher and higher. But let's enjoy this. Let's just take this in, see it for what it is, and just enjoy it, man. As a fan,
it's like, what do they target? Because there wasn't an opposing force to Bray Wyatt. There wasn't an opposing force to his legacy. There hasn't been an individual, and you remember after the passing, all the fun celebrations and little nuances and all those things that were done. The Wyatt Six doesn't show up with a clear motivation. In Monday Night Raw next week, time of this recording, it's in Indianapolis. And that's where the Pat McAfee show is, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if throughout the weekend, I wouldn't be surprised if it throughout all Monday, you're going to come up with a bunch of this content. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's Pat McAfee the target. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Seth Rollins the target. I wouldn't be surprised, and I bet the Wyatt Six shows up on SmackDown. We're recording before the time of SmackDown. I wouldn't be surprised if they show up and disrupt there.
Yeah.
Also, and I tried to confirm this. I can't find anything. I guess a large percent or 8% of the merchandise sales for this is going to the Wyatt family. I didn't know. I can't find that collaborated anywhere, but I saw that. But I know that's how it is with the Brody Lee shoe with Reebok. It's going to the Hubner family. So that's an incredibly cool thing.
I want to see. I just want to enjoy this as a fan,
Mm-hmm.
and I want other fans to just enjoy it too, man. One of the staples of WWE from the late '80s, early '90s, when Undertaker, made his first appearance, it became like a staple that there was a supernatural element to the show,
Yeah.
and Bray Wyatt was the closest thing to having had that after Undertaker was winding down during that. Undertaker legit, passed the torch to him. Even they had that beautiful moment in the ring when that was like the last time Undertaker saw him.
Yeah, that's something too. I think you're very correct. And if you want to get kind of cheesy with it, Nikki Cross as a superhero is obviously a supernatural thing as well. But yeah, those stories have been carried. And then the guys not in the Wyatt Six, the guys that exist, Braun Strowman and Randy Orton, who both obviously had rich association with Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family.
Yeah.
Do they, Saleh, look like they would be part of that story for you? Do you introduce they?
I would see them as targets, man.
Yeah.
I would say they could be labeled as traitors. Give us a nice little run of that. Like have them go after Braun Strowman, have them go after Randy, or have them go after Alexa Bliss. Like she will lose the title to a lot of disruption there, and let her lose and let Alexa. I love Alexa Bliss when she gets broken. She's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see that again.
It's going to be a very good story to carry through SummerSlam. I think I at this point would predict the return of Roman Reigns at SummerSlam.
Yeah,
and that's what's going to set up Survivor Series. And I think at Survivor Series, you're going to have old versus new bloodline. You're going to have the Usos kind of. And I'm not going to. Oh, you know what? That's probably it too. Jey Uso. I didn't even think about that because Jey Uso
he gave the Fireflies back.
Yeah,
he gave the Fireflies back.
You can run with that. There's a lot. So. Yeah, the Wyatts will have the run of the summer. It'll be a super hot Wyatt summer, and I think that's the one. And if they, for any reason, end up in like a Survivor Series kind of showdown thing, I think they end up where Alexa Bliss is the final whatever. There's that kind of stuff. So I'm incredibly pro Wyatt Six. I'm incredibly pro the entire thing, and I think the summer is going to be better for this storyline because the build up to Clash of the Castle and then Clash of the Castle proper, I wasn't having the most fun watching pro wrestling right now.
The another thing to note, man, I gotta say, I believe in Joe Hendry. I'm gonna keep saying his name for those who don't know him. Look him up; he's fun. So for those who are pissed that you went into the NXT 25-man Battle Royale and he was the first man being eliminated, on his way to the ring, they gave him a minute to cut a promo walking towards the ring. They don't do that with just anyone. And then after, there's a segment to a WWE digital exclusive where he came back yelling at Shawn Michaels, talking about "You'll see me anywhere, any place, anytime, any brand" type of thing. This is not the last of Joe Hendry in WWE from TNA. So another form of disruption getting ready to happen. It's this summer is cooking up something beautiful. I was afraid that things were slowing down a little bit too much for the summer, but they're kicking into a different gear where I'm even more so excited to see what's to come.
Yeah, we're on the same page. They're doing really well, and as you mentioned with TNA, there's a level of interest there, and with this crossover stuff, I'll just use Nick Nemeth as an example.
Yeah,
like he forever was Dolph Ziggler, and that was a big part of WWE for a long time, and then now he's in TNA, and that makes just so much access all the time, and I think obviously we're some time away from the Royal Rumble, but when that rolls back around, the amount of surprise that could exist will be a lot of fun, to be a part of. A lot of fun this past weekend for me, Saleh, was hosting your Comic-Con panel at Duke City Comic-Con. Thank you for having me at that. It was
Thanks
Scott.
For doing that again.
Yeah, it was tight, but it was quality. It was a different style of panel. Yeah, and so myself, Jimmy Hart, the Mouth of the South, who multiple times told me that he's doing a collaboration with Post Malone. So
Yeah.
kind of a
Tell me
weird.
that too. It's awesome.
And then Scott Steiner, and I don't know, Inside Pro Wrestling you want to get here. There is a level of talent that it takes to be entertaining every day, all the time. And, cons are a really fun example because you have to work your table. You have to meet fans. And when I say have to, you get the opportunity, but you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then, to be pulled away for a panel, the idea is you want to create a buzz or an interest, or you want to entice people to, number one, get the access to the venue for the event, but then number two, come see you at your booth. And Scott Steiner's approach, I had never seen in a panel before. So Scott Steiner was like, if you want more, you got to come see me direct. And I was a little, I'm going to use the word surprised, not in a negative way, but just like how effective that was, that he sat down in front of everyone and said, hey, I'm going to keep it short here, but if you want a little bit more, come see me. And obviously he would talk to them about an autograph or a photo or an engagement or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, I had not seen that. I had not seen that in my time as a panel host. What was your opinion on the juxtaposition? Was the way that Jimmy Hart so openly and freely was excited to meet every person in the room, and the way that Scott Steiner was so calculated in an attempt to draw them in for financial gain?
It's a thing where I anytime I'm talking to especially wrestlers, like, hey, by the way, I have a panel for you, and the first thing they ask, how long?
Yeah.
How long? So like time away from the table is time away from making money. Panels, they're not making money. It's just part of the deal. They're like, hey, you're coming to the con, more than likely you're gonna do a panel. But like the focus has always been, I need to be back to my table. I like, seeing how his Scott Steiner's approach was like, I will sit down, you're all gonna see me. This way I'm gonna see all of y'all and give you a reason to come back. I'll tease you and then come back, and I'll give you that, personal, that personal experience that like fans will hold on to even more so. But like I knew Scott was like, I knew that Scott Steiner was going to be more of the whole, I can't step away too long because it's money. That's just money not being made, and that's fair. That is fair. You got to make as much as you can. They're putting time away from their schedule and spend it with us. So I'm grateful that they even came.
Oh, same. Yeah, well, and I don't think it was a bad approach. I thought it was incredibly calculated, incredibly smart. But I think it's fun to point out the dichotomy of it, to where it's a guy like Jimmy Hart who lives this existence. A guy like Jimmy Hart who is the gimmick, and then Scott Steiner's like, well, this is my job, brother. I'm here to work. I'm not here to play. And I was, I don't know, surprised, I guess is word, but again, not in a negative or a positive, just this is not the experience that I've so many times had before in these panel situations.
But they also have like a difference in their approach to how they were used in the business.
Good point.
Scott Steiner was a talent, and Scott Steiner was the talent for a minute too. Jimmy Hart was in front of the camera, behind the camera. He worked production side. The man wrote music. He wrote, every time I see Jimmy Hart, he loves to remind me, I wrote the Shawn Michaels song. Like, I know, Jimmy. Time. I know you wrote. I know you wrote "Sexy Boy." It was so nice, baby, hearing him and Sexy Red sing my song. I'm like, Jimmy, I know you wrote the song.
Your Jimmy Hart's not that bad.
They're in like two different. They're in two different ways of seeing the business and how they've experienced the business. So like it makes sense. You have Scott Steiner who's like, tell me where I need to be, what I need to do, and I'll figure out how much money I can try and make, because this is how he makes his living. Jimmy, who has been part of the decisions of, I want to be included in the conversation when things are happening. Jimmy was always like, hey, let's play to Scott, make sure he's happy. Let's we'll see what needs to be done for Scott. And but yeah, two different approaches of how the business has been utilized through them.
Well, and you're talking also about management styles, right? Because like Jimmy Hart is very aware that Jimmy Hart would never have made us, a single iota in the world of pro wrestling. He would have been entertainment. His music stuff's incredible. Like, the dude's a world of talent. But in the world of pro wrestling, Jimmy Hart was not the feature. Jimmy Hart was the supporting cast.
Yeah.
And, it was the same thing here. He was like, how do I support? How do I how do I run traffic for this broadcast? And I always thought that's radio terminology, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You have to be that guy. And and Scott, and like I said, I was sitting as far from Scott as my arm could reach, and we're going through these things. He would tease you with the thing, and then it'll be, well, you can hear a little bit more about that in my booth. And you're like, oh, like,
I see what you're doing. I see
good
what you're
answer. Yeah, it was cool show. Like I said, I was super impressed by it. Also, and this is factual. 2 pro wrestlers, like that's what was there. It's a bunch of TV guys, it's a bunch of movie guys, it's a bunch of animation guys. Obviously, all the core merch that exist in the world of Comic Cons. Only 2 pro wrestlers. I saw a lot of pro wrestling shirts.
Yeah.
It's that crowd comes out and supports, and the accessibility of it is a unique thing and a special thing.
I not just wrestling shirts, man. I saw some DCCW gear out there.
Yeah,
That's being
that's
shown
fun.
around, man. That was lovely. A kid freaked out when he saw me and like wanted to shake my hand, but like he was scared to approach me. So that means I'm doing a good job. I cussed him out after. It was awesome.
Had to.
Gotta keep the kayfabe up, baby.
Well, and with his 8th birthday right around the corner, you don't want
Oh,
to
yeah.
think life's easy. So you
The first lessons from Uncle Sally, baby. I got you. But here's a really cool thing that I'm really, really grateful for. That Jimmy Hart likes to come down early. It's almost a piece of him that like, I want to help. Like, Jimmy, you're a guest. Chill, man. Like, you like hang out. Jimmy and I, and this is very rare when I'm in the con, we ended up having 30 minutes of uninterrupted time. Just Jimmy and I. And I'm forever grateful. He was dropping some beautiful, beautiful diamonds.
He's a smart dude.
Oh, very. One of the coolest things that he shared with me that I just would love to share with y'all, and like talking about character. When his band was doing their first tour, Dick Clark was the MC of the whole thing, and so he was with Dick Clark when he's first going, and Dick Clark told him that he told me, if you're on stage and you look like you're from the audience, sooner than later, you're going to end up back in the audience.
He's mentioned something like this to me before, talking about the importance of visually being the part that you're presenting story-wise. Yeah.
Yes. I am forever grateful for that. That just resonated with me very, very heavily. And like, who knows, you might see me around with a big old Pepto-Bismol bright pink suit someday, but I don't know, man.
I promise you, I will be wearing Hawaiian at Summer Sizzle, June the 28th at the
Rebels
El Rey Theater. Let's do this. We go away so we can come back, and whenever we do, we have an exciting week of pro wrestling here in Albuquerque next week as Summer Sizzle, Duke City Championship Wrestling, returns to the historic El Rey Theater. It's going over on 95.9 FM and AM 610. The Sports Animal. Welcome back to the program. Welcome back to Going Over right here on 95.9 FM and AM 610, The Sports Animal. I am Fred Slow. Saleh Taylor joining tape to record. It is Friday, June 21st. We're like midday, a little bit before Friday Night SmackDown tonight, and then obviously airing tomorrow morning. All right, Saleh, we had the big Comic-Con last week. Obviously, I was there as a part of it. We talked to World of Pro Wrestling, had a bunch of individuals purchase tickets at dccwtickets.com for the Summer Sizzle show, which was awesome. By the way, and I think I mention this every time, if you are supporting Duke City Championship Wrestling, you're supporting me. I am in the ownership group of Duke City Championship Wrestling. So every dollar that you spend on that slides right into Daddy's pockets. So I need to make sure everyone is fully aware of that. With that said, the card has started to trickle out a little bit for the Summer Sizzle show. What are you excited about as far as what you've seen thus far, Saleh?
I mean, it doesn't matter how cool whatever AC system we got going on in there, it's still going to be hot.
Yeah.
We have a lot of we got some fights getting ready to happen.
Yeah.
It's about to go down. I was kind of surprised to see some of these match cards being we
got a couple fun debuts. We've announced 2 of them. There's more debuts to come this weekend, which I'll spoil right now because at the time of this airing, it'll be public. But coming to town next week on June the 28th, first time in Duke City Championship Wrestling, Brian Rage. So we're excited to have Brian Rage come over.
Wow.
Yeah, he's taken a personal hating to El Diablo Blanco, and these two haven't been able to settle their differences in Texas, so they're going to come over here. So there's going to be a new, really strong personality for the audience here in Albuquerque to get behind, because no one wants to see La Migra beat up more than the city of Albuquerque.
I don't know, man. La Migra, they're almost always winning because they're almost always just dope, man.
They play by their own rules, huh?
Oh man, rules are meant to be followed by
Mhm.
your own set of rules.
Well, and, this is the official start to, year 2 of Duke City Championship Wrestling. We did the birthday bash last month. That was, in my opinion, kind of closing the chapter on year 1. And as we open year 2 here, we have another debut. So Elo Vijo is coming to Duke City Championship Wrestling. We're excited about his debut. He is a big, strong boy with a big, strong personality. He comes in bringing all of his heritage with him as he presents and is a really strong Native American warrior. How cool it is that we can hit on so many different types of individuals and cultures in the world of Duke City Championship Wrestling.
I'm actually really excited to see Elo Vijo come in
Yeah.
because this is, and against my fellow Solid man, Charlie 50.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great match. It's going to be a great fight. It's going to be two big dudes just want to beat each other up. I'm excited to see this, man.
Well,
does that also mean that my warrior princess,
Veronica
Vega's coming?
Yes, Veronica will be returning to the Duke City with Charlie 50, as Charlie 50 will be taking on He. And then lastly, not our final debut, but the final one we're going to talk about today, because the big announcement comes out on Monday. Miss Kath is coming up. She's going to fight Adrian Mascara. Obviously, Miss Kath performed with us at our live show in Las Cruces. She comes up from the city of El Paso. You shared a locker room with her. She speaks Spanish better than she speaks English, but she speaks the pro wrestling language better than both. Miss Kath is going to become a fan favorite, I think, pretty quick. And how fortunate we are to have really strong female competitors that everyone supports all around. There's not anyone outside Veronica Vega that is really jeered upon in the Duke City Championship Wrestling world.
Miss Kath is a force to be working with. She's a great presence. When you see her, you're gonna know, oh, that's Miss Kath. I'm really excited to see her in action in Albuquerque under the DCCW banner on TV with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Our storytelling continues with Chris Watson getting his first championship match opportunity against Thunder. And, this one, Saleh, is a little bit of a long time coming. Chris Watson cannot for the life of him get a one-on-one traditional opportunity against anyone. He's been beat up or in triple threats or tag teams. And the stars have not aligned for him in Duke City Championship Wrestling, and his patience being rewarded with a title shot against Thunder.
This is Thunder is a fighting champion, and he welcomes any challenge from anyone and everyone. It's really cool to see that Thunder felt that Chris Watson has earned the chance to get his ass whooped by Thunder himself. So I'm excited to see that. But Chris Watson has been on a journey that is actually kind of it's worthy of note.
Yeah, I agree completely. And it's a special Friday night broadcast and TV taping of Duke City Championship Wrestling. If you remember at our last taping, the final two, Saleh, in the Battle Royal for the inaugural Route 66 Championship was Mr. Happy and Valak Vile. And if there's a man who's earned a shot at the title that Mr. Happy won in that Battle Royal, it is Valak Vile. Look for those two to square up and match off for a second title matchup of the night.
The Route 66 title is on the line. And Valak Vile, yeah, I love this. A clown versus a magician. This is a beautiful thing. It's professional wrestling, baby. But I'm excited to see this. It's unfortunate that Valak Vile had to eliminate me, because I would have loved to have that spot. That would have been awesome.
And then finally, as far as announcements on this program, tune into Duke City Championship Wrestling social media and going over social media for the final announcement on what Hobo Hank is doing, as we've not let it be known yet. It is a very intense Berkey tag battle. These are two parallel stories that we thought would have the best opportunity to close out with Tyler Copeland versus Turbo Tony again. And Tommy Two Scoops versus Mexplex again. But let's put the good guys versus the bad guys, and let's throw out the rules. I think tornado style battle in this one, Saleh. It is Tyler Copeland and the livest Mexplex versus Tommy Test and Turbo Tony.
Now, see this, was it Turbo Test? This is going to be
Nice.
the debut of them. But the infamous Tyler Copeland can work with anyone and everyone, making them look like gold. Then you can have the livest Mexplex, who's just on a mission. That man has some gold and other promotions. So like, you have great workers, you have great guys who just want to go in once again, just beat up each other.
Yeah.
I'm excited, and it's going to be tornado rules. So does that mean, would that be no disqualification?
That is correct. Yeah. So in the famed words of Kevin Garnett, anything is possible. And then the victor of that one will be the famed words of Jason Tatum. We did it. So it's going to be an exciting little night of pro wrestling at the historic El Rey Theater. Tickets on sale at dccwtickets.com. I think all the front rows are gone. I'd have to double check. I'm almost certain. So there's a handful of seats left. If you want to be a part of what we're doing, you can do that at dccwtickets.com. Come hang out with us next Friday night. More matches will be announced before the event. But, we're going to do it the way we always do. 2.5 hours of a lot of fun pro wrestling. The U.S. Army is coming to present the colors. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, so we're going to have a fun national anthem. I mean, how fortunate we are, Saleh. How fortunate we are to be storytellers in the world of pro wrestling and regularly find success with that. I identify success as entertainment. Lastly, and we needed to make mention of this before the end of the show, terrible misfortune and tragedy has struck in the southern part of the state, specifically the area of Ruidoso, where families, and we're talking hundreds and thousands of individuals displaced from their home. If you are capable to help in any way, 505-246-0610, reach out to the program, shoot us a text. We will put you in contact with those who have helped us help others. Big thank you to Hotel Andalus, who donated to myself so that I could help arrange transport all of their pillows and blankets, Saleh, that they're like their old stuff. And you know what I mean, old. It's the nicest hotel in town. But they gave all of their used and surplus to fire relief in Ruidoso. So they just an incredible effort by they and Will, the GM over there. So thank you to they. But as always, take time to be thankful for what you have, and if you're able to, give considerations to others who need a little help.
Our hearts is with those who are affected by this, and these are our brothers and sisters. So like, if there's a way that you can help, please do so. And we'll see how we can, but we are hurting, and we are working to see how we can help and how we can bring a solution to this. So
Home Life Furniture. Yeah. Oh, sorry to interrupt, Solly.
Yeah,
Home Life Furniture, which is a really cool furniture company here in town. They are currently running their delivery trucks down there with goods. So you can reach out to Home Life Furniture, and then they will get your donation down south. Just awesome. Just a way to help others. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And we're all about that. I'm glad that we're able to, be a conduit to help others get there, get what they need down there. So excited to be part of that.
Could not agree more. Final words, brother, before we cut this one loose.
I love our fans. Our fans. I appreciate our fans. As long as you're reacting to us, we appreciate that. And my heart is with those who are affected down south.
That phone number for Home Life is 505-792-8300. So there you go. For Saleh Taylor, for myself, Fred Slow, thank you everyone for tuning in to Going Over. Good job, everyone.